Welcome to the RockStar in Life podcast, where you learn the secrets to unleashing your inner rock star so you can make the world your stage. What's up, rock stars in life? It's Siri Shakti, and I have my co-host joining me.
What's up? Dr. Dan in the house.
Well, today we're going to be talking about this awesome thing that's going on in the cosmos right now that is called Mercury in Retrograde.
Oh, yeah, it's a fun one.
Now, some of you may be listening thinking, I know what that is, and I know how it affects me. And some of you may be thinking, what the heck is Mercury in Retrograde?
I think most people don't know what it is.
Right.
Maybe our listeners do more, but I got to say, when I mention anything about it, I got to say, I think maybe like 1 out of 20 people I talk to say, oh yeah, I've heard something about that. Or yeah, I know that. But most people don't.
Yeah.
They're like, what?
Well, I know for myself, I didn't know anything about it until we started really getting more into our yoga practice. And I don't even know who we first heard about it from. But I started doing more reading about like astrology and things like that. And then, kind of opened up my eyes to what this was. Now,
and this happens actually, just so you know, if you're listening right now, this happens anywhere from 3 to 4 times a year, typically. Yep. So it just depends on the year. And if you're listening to this, the week of this being released, actually for the next 2 weeks after this being released, it actually started March 22nd, and it's supposed to end in April 15th. So yes. 2018. So if you're listening to this right now, then we are in retrograde. Mercury is in retrograde.
You're
right
in
the
thick of retrograde.
Yeah. So let's talk about it.
Yes. So first, before we get into exactly what it is, I just want to say that, as human beings, it's oftentimes easy for us to think of ourselves as being separate from the natural world. And, because we live such full and busy lives nowadays, we get so caught up in our day-to-day lives that we forget that we're a part of the natural world and everything that goes with it. So from this point of view, we can understand that everything, not only on the planet, but everything in the cosmos and, in the universe and multiverse plays a role in our human experience. And that, that's what we're talking about here with Mercury in retrograde. Mercury, yes.
Mercury.
You see, each planet follows a certain course. And when Mercury is in what we call retrograde, it appears, keyword appears, as if it's going backwards.
It's like moonwalking.
Yes.
But not on the moon. It's Mercury walking.
So do you want to explain a little bit about this idea that it looks as if it's going backwards?
It's magic.
But it's not.
Because it's magic.
Yes.
No, I mean, it appears to move backwards, and ancient yogis and astrologers for thousands and thousands of years ago, they have observed this, and maybe even prior to that, because it's like a 3.5 week period. The planet will reverse itself and move forward again after that. So imagine people staring up in the sky because they didn't have iPads, they didn't have iPhones, they didn't have smartphones or, TV or computers or any of that stuff. So they weren't sitting there chilling at home watching Netflix. And, what did they have to stare at? Fire and the sky.
Yes.
And before fire, just the sky, right? And try and stay alive. So, you're watching the sky and you know where all these stars are. And all of a sudden, well, these stars aren't stars, they're planets, right? And all of a sudden it appears that star that's been in the same place for many, many, many months, all of a sudden goes backwards.
Yeah. In
the sky. It appears to go backwards. And then it appears to go back again. I mean, that'd be pretty insane. Like, whoa, what is that? UFOs? They didn't even know what UFOs were back then anyways, right? But the reason why this happens is because I read that Mercury goes 4 times faster around the sun because it's the closest planet to the sun. We're there's what is that? Venus ahead of us if I remember correctly. Do you remember?
I don't.
It is Venus. Yeah. So there's Mercury. Well, there's the sun, Mercury, Venus, and then there's Earth, and and our moon is there as well, and then Mars. And Mercury is a pretty small planet, and because it's closer to the sun, it's going to go around the sun, faster, and then it catches back up. And that's why it appears that it's kind of going backwards at that point, because they kind of line up the way they line up. Now, imagine it's like if you're driving in a car and you're driving one speed, and then another car passes you a little faster. And then all of a sudden, it looked like that car was going faster than you. But, if that car slowed down and then you passed it, it would appear that that car actually was going backwards, but it's not.
Oh, right.
You're just passing it.
Yeah.
So that's why, people thought like, oh, it's going reverse.
Yeah.
So they call it, retrograde, it's going backwards. And it's a pretty interesting story about all these things can affect it. And I usually have fun with this. Like, whenever, we'll go more into this, but whenever, something's going wrong and we're feeling like really stressed out, and it feels like you just can't catch a break.
Yeah.
And, stuff with our computers or messing up, or our phones, or, we're working with some software in our business and it's not working, or logins or something ain't working. And we're like, what's going on? We'll usually go, let's check the calendar. Is Mercury in retrograde? Because something's going on. Or if I'm feeling like overly stressed for an entire week, which is like totally not normal for us, right?
Yeah.
We might have a couple hours or a day where we're just like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. But, when it happens for a few days and you're just like, what's going on? We'll usually look it up real quick. Where's Mercury? What's going on? Or I'll usually curse the stars and I'll tell them off. I'm like, damn you, Mars, damn you, Matt Damon, for Mars.
It's funny. We do always say that instead of Mercury, we say Mars.
I say it on purpose though.
Really?
Oh yeah. You always thought I said it on accident.
I thought it was just an accident. No, you said it one time.
It's always on purpose.
What's it from?
Mars. I'm just, I'm cursing Mars just for fun. Makes me feel better. And then when I said Matt Damon, it's because, he was in the movie.
Oh, where he was on Mars.
Yep.
It's all coming together now.
Yep.
Now it's making sense.
Yep. First they destroyed his poop potatoes. Remember? He grew them out of his own poop.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, it's during this time, it's easy to feel like you're going backwards, just like, now you have me saying Mars. Just
Mars!
Just like how Mercury appears to be going backwards, that's how you can feel like everything is going backwards. And oftentimes we hear that, people are like, oh gosh, Mercury is going to be in retrograde, and we can feel like it's a negative thing. But in fact, and I'll get into the reasons why in a moment.
Well, before you do, let me kind of get a little technical on that, because I'm proud of myself because I had to write this down because I didn't know how to explain. I just know it messes us up. But, Mercury in retrograde is actually an electron diffuser, and it scatters the electron broadcast that comes from the sun. And because Mercury is closest to the sun, that's, it affects that. It like causes a diffusion and polarities. It's the polar opposite of a lot of communication and things like that, which I know you're going to actually explain a little bit more. But it's kind of like when you take two magnets on the opposite sides or on the same sides, and you try and bring them together. Like a positive, or negative, and they just kind of bounce off each other. That's kind of what's happening because of that, because of Mercury in retrograde. So it's kind of like reversing all that stuff where things bounce off, and there's a lot of missed steps and a lot of miscommunication and a lot of like, messed up electrons.
Yes,
yes. What Guru Singh calls it, electron fairies.
The electronic fairies.
Yeah, electronic fairies. Just go with it, just kind of surrender, and just understand it's going to happen. It's like being in the ocean and, big waves are coming, it's going to get calm eventually. Yes. So just, weather the storm as best as you can.
Right.
Try not to drown.
And, here right now we're talking about some of the challenges that can come up, but I also do want to cover some of the positives as well. So we will get to that. But you see, each planet has certain qualities. And so when we're looking at Mercury, you see Mercury rules all types of communication, just like you said, Dan. And that includes listening, speaking, learning, reading, let's see, that editing, researching, negotiating, any time of like selling and buying. And Mercury also rules all forms of contracts and agreements. So oftentimes during this time, people will encourage you or advise you not to sign any contracts or agreements unless you really have to. And if you have to, take extra care that you read over all the fine print.
Triple check things.
Yes.
Like triple. If you normally only like check twice, check 4 times.
Yes. Because like you were saying, it's easy to make a misstep and have miscommunication. And so, that's something that we can all use, not even just in signing documents and things like that, but also because this rules communication, take extra special care in how you communicate and who you're communicating with. And, because things can get confused and misunderstood. So that's part of it. Also under the planet's domain, just like you were explaining, is all types of code, including computer codes, as well as transportation, shipping, and travel. And that's why oftentimes electronics can get a little bit scrambled or jumbled during this time. So you can either, just flow with it, or like I like to do, I send a little prayer out to the electronic fairies. Come on, fairies, you can do it.
Yeah. So it's not something to fear. It's just something to be aware about.
Yeah.
It's like if you were to go sailing, right? You would plan for that. You wouldn't just go, you wouldn't go during hurricane season in Florida, hopefully, right?
Right.
And you wouldn't go into the eye of the storm if you're like, oh, I didn't know there was going to be, you check the weather before you do stuff. I mean, just like if you're, going to go plan a vacation somewhere, you check the weather, what you're going to need. You don't want to like go somewhere that snows really heavily and be like, oh, I'm going to go during this snowstorm and get snowed in and trapped.
Yeah.
Right. You be careful, right? Just like when you drive your car on a trip, you fill it up with gas. You don't just drive it blindly and not look at your gas, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's just making sure.
And on a good side, Mercury retrograde can be extremely powerful because it's known and it's taught that your intuition is very high during this time. So your ability to, tap into your intuition and your wisdom is going to be, very ignited during this time. And most of us live very fast-paced lives, right? I mean, that's just like the culture that we live in. It's like go, go, go. Well, we can't always be moving forward, right? We can't always be going so fast. And so, even though Mercury is not actually going backwards, we can kind of learn from this lesson that to kind of pause and slow down during this time, to reintegrate and just kind of like put on the brakes a little bit and look within yourself. And boy, am I saying that to myself. I need to take my own advice here. So be sure I'll be slowing down. Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. There's also, we didn't even mention this, but I was also reading about, plastic surgery or elective surgery, anything other than like a life-threatening, you don't go, if all of a sudden you fall and injure yourself really bad and need like surgery, or if you have a heart attack or a stroke or something, you don't go, don't take me to the hospital, not till, for 2 weeks until
Mercury's going straight again.
Until it's back. Yeah, no, you obviously need to do those things, but don't plan surgeries that aren't life-threatening, without knowing when this is happening, because things could get messed up, and you definitely, if you have the choice, don't do it, right?
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, if you can avoid it. Yeah. And I wrote down 7 things that I would, say is, there's so many things that we could say about this, but just for some advice, like the top 7 things to just keep in mind. You can even write them down, put them on a little sticky note somewhere you can see it so you can remind yourself each day during this. And I'll just kind of go through them. The first one is just kind of chill out. Don't take things too serious because, things can get a little bit confusing and stressful during this time. So just realize that it's going on with all human beings. So try not to be too serious. Number 2, dealing with all of your electronic stuff, back up your data, right, Dan?
Yeah.
Back up your stuff because you don't want to be working on something and have it disappear, right?
Yeah, save often, is another thing.
Yeah, save
always,
often.
Always save if you're doing something, or if you're working on some software or something, and make sure you make lots of copies.
Exactly. Yeah.
Every time you make a change.
Also, just this kind of goes with number 1, but it's take things with a grain of salt because during this time, because there is a bigger there's a bigger chance that people will be feeling confused, that when Mercury is in retrograde, there's a lot more instances where people are more inclined to change in their mind. So just, take things with a grain of salt. Number 4, if you're signing a contract, I just said this, I know, read the small print, right? Take extra care there. Number 5, finish things that you started a while ago. All right. If you have some projects you've been working on, like me, I said a few months ago I was going to start cleaning out the closets. Well, that is I started cleaning out one closet and it kind of emptied out onto the floor and has stayed there. So that is going to be a closet I'm going to be finishing during this time. Wrap up or tie up any loose ends. Okay. Number 6 is, and this is one of my favorite ones, is, instead of looking at it as being like a negative thing, allow Mercury to nudge you in unusual directions and really just tap into what it is that the universe is trying to tell you. What messages is it trying to show you during this time? Okay. And number 7 is get together with some friends, with, old friends, new friends, go have some fun and have some good laughs during this time, which I feel like, goes with number 1, not to be too serious and have a good time.
Yeah, totally. And just be conscious knowing that, that this is when, like I said, when Mercury's in retrograde, and knowing that when it's, if you're communicating with somebody and they're not doing, because like you definitely, I don't even know if we mentioned this, but you definitely want to do a lot of meditation and yoga.
Yes.
Definitely every single morning. It's really important. The days that I didn't do it, I think in the last week or so, I think there was 2 days I didn't actually do it. And man, did I suffer those days.
Yep.
Hardcore. So, I get up in the morning and you can watch those past episodes or listen to those past episodes where we talk about hydrotherapy, getting in the shower, warm, then cold, then doing a meditation. Even if you can only do, 5-10 minutes, do it.
Yes.
At least. Yeah. Do what you can, but 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then possibly, a couple times during the day, if you're feeling really overwhelmed, or some deep breaths. Something like that. Yeah. Try and calm yourself, get into nature, put your feet in the sand, do some earthing, put your feet in the snow, put your feet in the grass,
That sounds so nice right now.
In the water, in the dirt, on rocks.
Yes. Really, honestly, don't make any excuses. This is it's that important. Taking care of yourself each morning is extremely important every day, but especially during Mercury retrograde. And believe me, I know what it's like. If I'm not taking care of myself during this time, I feel like I'm like a crazy person. I know Dan has experienced that.
Yeah. And there's, and it's really intense right now too, for this one we're in right now, because apparently there was also what was
the
it,
solar storm?
Yeah, solar storm also, which was like a diffuser or whatever as well. Mm-hmm. So that caused it to be even more intense. And man, did I feel it.
Yeah. And actually, now that we're talking about this, I think on our site I should post there's a really good meditation I know of that works with the solar flares and helps to counteract the effects of that. So I'll put that together for you guys this week and get that up there.
We'll put it in the episode. down below
Yeah.
in the
Even
resources.
some yoga that's specifically good. I mean, all yoga is going to be good for this time, but there are certain things that specifically work with the energies that are, present during Mercury in retrograde.
Yeah. And then for the rest of 2018, there's actually in July 22nd or 26th, July 26th to August 18th, there'll be another one. And then November 16th to December 6th. So we've got 3 this year. We had 4 last year, and I think we had 4 the year before too, if I remember correctly. It was quite a bit. I felt like I was always seeing it. I was like, whoa, what's going on?
Oh, and remember, I know that, did you want to mention about the food, like eating brain food during this time?
Yeah, eating brain foods, and I'll let you kind of mention some of those, but bananas is really good for it. So
high in potassium.
Eat some more bananas, and also eat the string part of it as well. The part that kind of usually just dangles or hangs off, but eat that part too, because that's really good, right now for you too.
Yeah, and when we say brain food, I mean, I'm talking like whole foods, plant-based,
water rich foods,
fruits, veggies, nuts, things like that.
Your body's made up of what, like 70, 80% water? I forgot the exact number. I always just say 70 to 80%.
We should eventually look that up, but it's a very high percentage.
Yeah. No, it's somewhere between there. And then also the earth is covered by, 70 to 80% water.
Yeah.
And, you want your diet to be 70 to 80% water-rich foods.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. So with all of this information and advice that we've given you, I think it really comes down to just taking extra care of yourself during this time and not even looking at Mercury retrograde in a negative light, because it's so easy to do that just because, it deals so much with like communication and technology, which is 2 very essential things in our lives. But like I was saying, that this is such a powerful time, and we encourage you to really tap into your intuition during this time, and I'd say extract the blessings that are coming from this event for the next, I think it's like 2 more weeks or so. Well, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we get to our RockStar mission?
No, just want to remind everybody to go to rockstarinlife.com to go to the links to resources mentioned in this episode, the transcript, download free books, training, yoga, meditation, homeschooling advice, and so much more that we're adding constantly. Go to rockstarinlife.com and join the Rockstar in Life revolution today.
Awesome.
Yep. So for this Rockstar mission, which is going to be really simple but totally necessary, is for you to go to the episode page by going to rockstarinlife.com and checking out the resources and making sure that each morning you're doing your yoga, you're doing your meditation, you're doing your hydrotherapy, and you're taking at least a few minutes to get yourself right, especially, and this is great to just continue doing, but really important right now. If you've been putting this off and being like, I'll start next week, you've been listening to us see, I'm having problems with communicating. Been listening to us for a while.
It's Mercury. It's Mars.
Yeah, it's Mars. Damn you, Matt Damon. And your poop potatoes. So what I want you to do is to start now. No more excuses. And if you have been doing it, that's great. Give yourself a high five, a pat on the back, and continue to do so, because it's really important right now. And like Siri Shakti said, she's actually going to have on the episode page, she'll actually have some, a meditation for you guys to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll put those together tomorrow and get them up.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Tomorrow doesn't make much sense to them. So.
Oh, well,
it'll be there.
In 24 hours.
In 24 hours after they've listened to this?
Okay, never mind.
What if they listen to this a year from now? They're like, is it 24 hours yet?
Okay, it's already up.
It'll be there. And if it's not there, it'll be there very soon. How's that?
Very good.
Awesome.
All right. Well, guys, get out there and don't forget to be a rock star in your life.
Make the world your stage.
Thanks for listening to Rockstar in Life, your source for unleashing your inner rockstar. For more tips, training, and free stuff, be sure to go to rockstarinlife.com and join the Rockstar in Life revolution today. Thanks again, and don't forget to make the world your stage.